watching this video, you're probably in a committed relationship and wondering if your partner is right for you. Maybe you have been thinking about leaving him or her for a long time and either never had the courage to break up or have broken up and then gone back. Or maybe this is the first time that you're struggling with this idea and feel completely lost about what you want to do. Whether you have struggled with the decision to keep or leave your partner for a few months, years, or half your life, it has been too long. It is time to clarify your thoughts and settle your mind. It is a known fact that breaking up a committed relationship is a very difficult process that has huge implications emotionally, physically, spiritually, as well as financially. It is also true that not leaving the wrong partner can have even deeper and more negative implications in your life. And the longer you stay in a relationship that makes you unhappy, the deeper and more devastating the impact will be. If you're with a partner who does not fit with you or has unhealthy or dangerous traits and behaviors, your self-esteem is at stake. You're probably blaming yourself for not taking action, and every time you try to leave and come back, you probably feel weaker and more unsure of yourself. And you're not alone. There are thousands of people like you around the world who know they deserve to be happy in a relationship, but find themselves trapped in the wrong one. I am here to offer you a solution to your struggle. I want to make the process of deciding whether to keep or leave your partner less painful by teaching you a system that will help you make the right decision. With this system, you will have more clarity about who your partner really is, a deeper understanding of what is working and not working for you, a clear map to deal with your doubt, and the tools necessary to follow through on whatever you decide to do. Hello, I'm Dr. Georgiana Spradling, emotional intelligence relationship coach and strategist, author of Don't Get Stuck with the Wrong Partner, Learn to Detect Unhealthy Traits and Behaviors in Others, and creator of groundbreaking tools for choosing or leaving partners and managing relationship dynamics. Welcome to part 1 of the video series titled, Should You Stay or Should You Go? How to Know for Sure if you should keep or leave your partner. I'm going to start sharing the system with you by talking about feelings and explaining why they should not be the only basis for making the decision of whether to keep or leave your partner. This might be the hardest part because it will require you to manage your feelings for your partner in a way that will allow you to be objective about them. But don't worry, I am going to walk you through it. See, I have been in your shoes before. I too have been in a relationship in which I struggled with the decision to leave my partner. That person had a lot of the qualities I wanted in my life, and yet for almost 1 year, I had the impression that something was missing. I felt tremendously guilty because I knew his family very well and connected with them. He loved me very much and I loved him, so I kept asking myself why that was not enough for me. One day I told him that I was going to help my family with a troubling issue, and he said something that stopped me in my tracks. He said, "People have to help themselves. They can figure it out on their own." It hit me hard. It was as though I was seeing him for the first time. And yet, if I had paid attention all along, I would have noticed that it was not the first time that he said something like that. So I combed my memory for other instances in which he shoved aside people's needs and refused to help, and remembered that 3 months earlier, a friend called him to ask for advice, and my partner told him, "Look, it's a bad time right now. I'm in the middle of something. Can we talk another time?" It was not what he said, but how he said it that shocked me the most. Because I did not live with him, I did not always follow his relationships. But something about the friend's plea for help touched me. So a few days later, I made a point to ask my partner if he called his friend back. And he replied, I will call him back sooner or later, but in the meantime, he can figure it out. Since my partner's friendship with this person started many years before I began dating him, I did not feel I had the right to give my opinion. I just remembered saying that I felt really bad for his friend and noticing the heavy silence that followed my words. My partner's lack of reaction to my empathic comment should have been a clue, but I was sidetracked by how well he treated me, the fact that he called me every day, brought me flowers, offered to pick me up at work, and always remembered my schedule. I assumed that his attentiveness meant he thought of me and was a caring person. I allowed my positive feelings to overshadow the warning signs that deserve more of my attention, an important point I will cover in more detail shortly. After we spoke about helping my family, I decided to find out more about how my partner related to people in need. At the next family reunion at his mother's house, I saw his sister alone in the kitchen. I approached her and asked her how she got along with her brother. She confessed that things had never been well between them. So I asked more direct questions about his issues with people, and she dropped a bomb. As it turns out, she too found him to be devoid of empathy. She never asked him for anything for fear he'd reject her or mock her. She also shared several examples where he showed zero empathy towards others. She said that I was the only person he made an effort for and that she hoped that it wouldn't be short-lived because he tended to do what it took to get what he wanted, but always reverted back to his selfish ways. Wow, I was shocked and confused. How could I overlook the fact that he had no empathy? Was it because I wanted him to be the love I had hoped for? Or because I did not look deep enough? Or because he did everything he could to make me fall in love with him and marry him? For months afterwards, I locked my radar on his level of empathy in different areas of his life, towards his friends, colleagues, and neighbors, one of whom had just fallen ill. In most of his relationships, he showed a complete lack of empathy and kindness when people needed him. For me, not having empathy for people in need is what I call a non-negotiable, something I cannot live with. So I gathered the courage and left him. It was not easy, but I did it. After I broke up with him, I asked myself why my feelings had deceived me. I felt love for this man, but what made me feel love for a person who did not show empathy towards others? One afternoon, I sat alone and took my feelings apart. Was it really love that I felt? How could I love someone based only on how he treated me? I thought long and hard, and the answer came to me. My father had often told me that women should marry and start a family at a young age. So I was afraid to disappoint him. I was approaching 30 and wanted to believe I had found the man to have a family with. I wanted to be what my father wanted me to be. Could feelings be so blind? Since then, my studies of psychology and human behavior and over 20 years of coaching experience have convinced me that it is common to distort reality to make it fit with our deepest hopes and dreams. What we call love is at times a mixture of true appreciation for certain qualities the person has, chemistry, wishful thinking, and other feelings that sometimes have nothing to do with a person at all. One of them is fear. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're turning 40 soon, and your deepest desire is to have a baby. The fear of being childless will seduce you into seeking love. So it is likely that you will focus on all of the things you like and make you feel good about the person that you're dating and tend to overlook the traits that do not feel so good. And this can go on for a long time, long enough to move in or have a baby with them. Or let's say you've had a series of disappointing relationships in the past, and you finally find someone who wants to commit. So you commit to them. But over time, you notice traits or behaviors that are not healthy or do not fit with you. But the idea of going back into the dating world scares you. So you hang on to your feelings for the person and make these feelings much bigger than they actually are. In this case, your love for him or her could be a mixture of true appreciation for who they are and plenty of fear of not being able to find anyone else who loves you. Feelings are tricky. When I coach people who are in abusive relationships, I sometimes hear comments such as, "I know he or she hit me, but I love him or her." So even in extreme situations, people will overlook reality in the name of love, and it clouds their ability to reason. To some people, the thought of keeping a tab on feelings may seem counterintuitive and a hard thing to do. I am not proposing to overlook feelings, as they're wonderful tools that, if recognized, understood, and used correctly, can help you make the right decision in relationships. But I am suggesting you do 4 things. Number 1, spend some time thinking about why you love your partner. Number 2, identify any unrelated feelings that may make you feel close to them, such as fear of being alone or never loving again. And since the thought of a breakup is difficult and can generate powerful feelings as well, ask yourself whether these feelings of failure, guilt, sadness, or regret can be clouding your judgment and preventing you from seeing your partner as they really are. Number 3, identify any deep wishes you may have, such as being the first one in your family to marry, having a child by a certain age, or doing what a parent always wanted you to do. And reflect on how these wishes may increase your attachment to your partner. And finally, review your feelings towards your partner in light of what you have discovered about yourself, keeping in mind your insight about unrelated feelings and deep wishes that may be contributing to your feelings of love. You can complete this exercise by downloading, printing, and filling out the PDF form titled Workbook for Part 1 located on this page. After you have taken these 4 steps, you may feel a little unsettled for a while. You may wonder if you will ever meet another person who will have some of the qualities that your partner has and who will love you. I know it is probably hard to believe, but if you are in an unhappy relationship, there's a high probability that there are people out there better suited for you. And as long as you sit in a relationship with the wrong person, these other people will keep walking by you. That is a shame, don't you think? To waste your life with the wrong person while people who are better matched are looking for someone like you. So even though you may be afraid of the future, be strong and continue to manage your feelings. My goal in this program is to ease your pain and make it easier for you to make the right decision, whatever it will be. Here's what you will learn in the next 3 videos of this series. In part 2, I will cover why it is necessary to focus on your partner's negative traits and behaviors rather than on positive ones when deciding whether to keep them or leave them. In part 3, I will help you examine the traits and behaviors in your partner that do not fit with you. And in part 4, we will look at your partner's unhealthy traits and behaviors. These will be the most negative traits your partner may have, and they may also be harder to see and accept. We will build up to it, so stay with me. Before we meet next, make sure that you complete the exercises in the workbook for this video so that you're ready to look at your partner objectively. Please communicate with me to allow me to be there through your process. Let me know what is working for you and what you're struggling with. You can leave your comments or questions below this video, and I will make sure to respond to them as promptly as I can. Until we meet next, let me leave you with 3 inspirational messages. Trust yourself, don't stop evaluating, and don't sell yourself short. It is a pleasure to be part of your journey to avoid staying with the wrong partner, and look forward to seeing you in part 2 of this video series. I will see you very soon.